just when I thought I was done reporting on The Last of Us, at least for a while, Mr. Neil Druckmann dropped a bomb today and announced that he is walking away from The Last of Us TV show. Not necessarily the games, but the TV show before season 3. I've heard people rumbling about Druckmann could retire soon from the gaming side, but nothing about whatever's happening with the show. To me, the show was his baby, so the fact that he's actually leaving before season 3 is pretty big news. So this news just dropped today, and I'm over here on the Hollywood Reporter, and as it says, The Last of Us co-creator Neil Druckmann to exit HBO series. The co-showrunner is departing the hit series, which he made with Craig Mazin after a divisive season 2. Divisiveness on season 2, but I can understand because I was pretty let down by it when it started off pretty strong, dipped off near the end. A show known for its devastating character departures now has a big one behind the scenes. The Last of Us co-showrunner Neil Druckmann is exiting the HBO hit series. Craig Mazin as the show's sole showrunner going into the 3rd season. Druckmann will continue to carry a co-creator and executive producer credit on the show. The shakeup comes on the heels of a divisive 2nd season, which surprisingly declined a bit in the ratings. Though to be fair, the season was based strongly on the 2nd PlayStation game, which likewise sold less than the 1st game, which I actually didn't know that. Druckmann said in a statement, "I've made the difficult decision to step away from my creative involvement in The Last of Us on HBO. Work completed on season 2 and before any meaningful work starts on season 3. Now it is the right time for me to transition my complete focus to Naughty Dog and its future projects, including and writing, directing our exciting next game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, along with my responsibilities as studio head and head of creative." I imagine during the 1st season and the 2nd he wasn't doing a whole lot of game development work, but the trailer for Intergalactic dropped like last year, and I didn't like it personally. I was like, whatever, but people seem to be excited about it because it's a departure from what Naughty Dog normally does, because most of their stuff pretty much grounded in reality, but Intergalactic takes place in space. It's hard to describe even what Intergalactic is yet, but even based on the trailer, it's almost kind of confusing. Continued Druckmann, co-creating a show has been a career highlight. It's been an honor to work alongside Craig Mazin to executive produce and direct and write on the last 2 seasons. I'm deeply thankful of the thoughtful approach and dedication the talented cast and crew took to adapting The Last of Us Part 1 and their continued adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2. I look forward to HBO and PlayStation Productions continuing Ellie and Abby's story next season. Mazin also said in a statement, "It's been a creative dream to work with Neil and bring an adaptation of his brilliant work to life on HBO. I couldn't have asked for a more generous creative partner. As a true fan of Naughty Dog and Neil's work in video games, I'm beyond excited to play his next game. While he focuses on that, I'll continue to work with our brilliant cast and crew to deliver and show our audience has come to expect." We are so grateful to Neil and Hallie Gross for entrusting the incredible story of The Last of Us Part 2 to us, and we're just as grateful to the millions of people around the world who tune in. Haley or Hallie Gross, it's spelled Halley, so I don't know if that's Haley or Hallie, but she was the co-writer on The Last of Us Part 2 game. Last of Us showrunners previously gave a joint interview about the Season 2 finale in June, which included Druckmann teasing that what's to come in Season 3. "We're telling you that next season there's an epic nature to everything else about to happen," Druckmann said at the time. Druckmann was the creative leader on The Last of Us games for Naughty Dog and teamed with Mazin to create and launch the TV series version. The Last of Us has been a critical and commercial success for HBO and is expected to be a strong Emmy contender. I'm not sure about that for 2nd season. Leaving The Last of Us HBO show before the even production of season 3, and he's going to focus 100% on Intergalactic over on the Naughty Dog, which I think might be his last game. I'm kind of thinking that he wants to work on this one, focus 100% on this, and then perhaps retire. Only guessing. Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, which was announced last December on December 12th, and The Heretic Prophet is the newest franchise in development for the PlayStation 5 console from Naughty Dog. Thousands of years into the future, Intergalactic puts players in the role of Jordan A. Munn, a dangerous bounty hunter, ends up stranded in Semperia, a distant planet whose communication with the outside universe went dark hundreds of years ago. Jordan will have to use all of her skills and wits if she hopes to be the first person in over 600 years to leave its orbit. Also, interesting to note for Intergalactic, the main protagonist, Jordan A. Munn, is played by Tati Gabrielle, also was in Uncharted and played Joe Braddock, and was also Nora in the most recent season of The Last of Us. She was one of Abby's friends. So she already has a solid connection with Naughty Dog in general. And now here she is playing the main character in latest game, Intergalactic, The Heretic Prophet. I hate that title. I kind of wish they would just pick one or the other. But if they just said Intergalactic, I'd probably just keep thinking of the Beastie Boys song. But if they just said The Heretic Prophet, that almost makes it sound like a completely different game. Though again, even based on the trailer, it's still kind of unclear 100% what kind of game this is, other than as some type of third-person action, because yeah, it's Naughty Dog, so it's going to be some type of high-quality, well-acted, graphically stunning third-person action game. Whatever you feel about Naughty Dog, they make pretty spectacular games. So what does this actually mean for the show itself? So his departure is definitely significant, especially given his fundamental role in bringing the story to life in games and on screen. But there is speculation that this could actually benefit the show's future, particularly following the divisive reception of Season 2. By allowing the series to evolve with new creative voices while Druckmann focuses on continuing the game series. Yeah, but which creative voices? Like, is it just going to be Craig now from now on? And the other co-writer, Hallie Grossman, that Druckmann is not stepping away from the show because of any conflict or creative fatigue, but he just wants to fully commit to his role at Naughty Dog, be able to 100% focus on the Intergalactic game. But he will remain on as an executive producer, but he's not going to do any more writing or directing, but he'll stay involved on an advisory level. The gaming industry is pretty bad for leaks and information coming out before it actually happens, but there is no hints whatsoever that I heard of that Druckmann would be leaving the show. They were hinting at him that perhaps Intergalactic will be his last game. He's also hinted at that there could still be a Last of Us Game 3. It'd be crazy to think that he would leave to do Intergalactic and then Last of Us 3, but it would almost be kind of wrong for someone other than him to be involved in the third game, doing the Intergalactic game. So it was really Mason who kind of shepherded the show not more than Druckmann, but it was essentially Mason's passion for doing it that kind of got Neil on board, even though Neil wanted to do it for years. But Mason was the first person to come to him with a pitch that made sense, because even Druckmann himself hinted that there could be a fourth season. So does that mean if there was, Hill won't be involved at all? By that time, would there be a Game 3 by then? Or are they seriously going to try to break Game 2 into 3 seasons? I really hope not. But this will be a very interesting to see how, if this affects. I actually think that Druckmann is not as good as a writer for shows as he is for games, even though you'd think it's the same thing. But transitioning from game writing to film or screenwriting isn't actually as easy as you'd think, considering the sheer amount of writing that is happening in games. It's way more, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages. Going from that to writing 50 to 60 page script for an episode, and I don't think he actually has the mind for it like Mason does. I'd say Mason is a better writer just because as a screenwriter he's been doing it since the early 2000s. He definitely knows what he's doing, and there might have been a transitionary period for Druckmann too, as going from working on a small enclosed set with people wearing these special motion capture suits to being on an actual set with people aren't in capture suits. So who knows what that's like to transition from that to that. So I'm really not worried because I still trust Mason, and I trust him way more to just do better writing. There's no way of knowing who actually wrote what, or that dreadful line that everybody hates, that people are still memeing. I'm gonna be a dad. Yes, the I'm gonna be a dad line. That stupid line pretty much was where the show fell off right there at that exact moment. But I digress. There's going to be another 2 years before we see anything for a season 3 for The Last of Us. So until then, we'll just have to wait and speculate. But don't forget, while you're doing that, to comment below and let me know what you think about this. Also, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to keep stinking gaming.